The man we're talking about today looked ordinary, but he became the first person in South Korean criminal history to be officially classified as a psychopath. His name was Yoo Young-chul. In 2003, in a quiet, wealthy neighborhood in Seoul, a series of horrific crimes began to unfold. The victims were elderly people. The killer was not after money. He was after only one thing: the lives of his victims. And as fear spread across Seoul, the killer suddenly stopped. Had the case been solved? No. He had simply changed his target. This time, he targeted women working in outcall massage services. They were socially vulnerable, and their disappearances were easy to overlook. But no perfect crime lasts forever. Eventually, he was arrested by the police. That man was Yoo Young-chul. Yoo Young-chul reportedly told investigators something chilling. If he had not been caught, he would have continued, until the number reached 100. Yoo Young-chul grew up in an unstable home. According to accounts of his childhood, his father became violent when he drank. His mother worked long hours to support the family and was often away from home. As a child, Yoo was said to have a talent for drawing, but he reportedly had trouble telling certain colors apart. His criminal record began while he was still in high school. Even after he got married, the crimes did not stop. He spent years going in and out of prison. Then, his wife learned something disturbing. Yoo had been connected to a serious offense involving a minor. After that, she reported him to the police. Yoo was eventually convicted and sent to prison. While he was behind bars, his marriage came to an end. He also lost custody of his son. But Yoo did not accept that his own crimes had destroyed his family. Instead, he blamed poverty. Over time, that anger began to turn toward the wealthy. After he was released from prison, Yoo did not wait long. He moved as if the plan was already there. On September 24, 2003, an elderly couple was found dead inside an upscale home in Seoul. Strangers would have stood out there, but the killer still got inside. And then, he walked back out. Not long after, there was a second case, then a third. Soon, police began to see a pattern. Most of the early victims were elderly people living in affluent neighborhoods. Then, on November 18, 2003, another attack took place. This time, Yoo tried to make the scene look like a robbery, but while staging the scene, he made a mistake. He injured his own hand. In that moment, he became afraid. He may have left his own blood behind, so he set fire to the house and ran. But this time, he did not disappear completely. A nearby CCTV camera captured him. In the dark footage, a man could be seen walking away from the area. Police decided to release the image to the public. After that, the killings in wealthy neighborhoods suddenly stopped. Police may have thought the killer had been scared off. Maybe he had left Seoul. Maybe he had finally stopped. But Yoo Young-chul had not stopped. He had simply chosen a different kind of victim. Yoo Young-chul began calling outcall massage businesses. These were businesses where a customer could call and a worker would be sent directly to a location. Yoo asked the women to come to his small studio apartment. When a woman arrived, he committed the crime. In some cases, the victim's fingerprints had been damaged. Yoo was reportedly looking for faster ways to cover his tracks. While trying to cover his tracks, he is said to have looked through books related to anatomy. Meanwhile, one business owner began noticing something strange. He ran several outcall massage businesses. The same phone number kept appearing. Women would receive calls from that number. Then they would leave to meet the customer, and then they would not come back. Once could have been a coincidence, but this kept happening. The owner decided this could not be ignored anymore, so another meeting was arranged, and the police were notified. When Yoo arrived at the agreed location, police arrested him. At first, investigators thought the missing women may have been kidnapped, But during questioning, Yoo said he had killed the women himself. Police searched his belongings. Inside, they found items believed to belong to some of the missing women. That was the moment the case moved in an even darker direction. Then, during questioning, Yoo appeared to be having a seizure. Police quickly loosened his handcuffs. The room quickly fell into confusion. In that moment, Yoo slipped out through the front entrance of the police station. They had lost a man who might be a serial killer. A citywide search began immediately. Police set up checkpoints. They searched places Yoo was known to visit, and about 12 hours later, he was arrested again. He reportedly spoke to the detectives in a mocking way. He told them this case would probably get all of them promoted. Then he asked for paper and a pen. Yoo drew 4 separate sketches. The drawings showed the layouts of homes where earlier killings had taken place. These details had never been released to the public. These were details only the killer could have known. When Yoo talked about the crimes, it almost sounded like he was bragging. But his story kept changing. Investigators soon realized something. They could not rely on his words alone. They needed real evidence. On July 18, 2004, Yoo pointed police to a wooded hillside in Seoul. And before long, 10 victims were recovered from that area. But identifying them was extremely difficult. Their fingerprints had been damaged on purpose. Even during the search, he claimed he could not remember the exact locations, as if he was still trying to control the investigation. At the same time, another team was searching Yoo's studio apartment. Police found a modified blunt weapon and several other tools, and in the bathroom, they found traces that the victims' bodies had been cut apart. After the investigation moved forward, Yoo was brought in front of a crowd of reporters. Everyone waited to hear what he would say. Would he apologize to the victims? He did not. Instead, he made a degrading comment about the women he had targeted. Even then, he tried to shift blame onto the victims. Then came the trial. The court found him guilty of killing 20 people, and he was sentenced to death, but more than 20 years later. Yoo Young-chul remains on death row. He was South Korea's first serial killer to be officially classified as a psychopath. If you found this story worth watching, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. This has been The Hidden Archive. Thank you for watching.